Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? Good? Yes. Hi, my name is Ayati Dashkar. I'm the Global Youth Lead for the World Women Foundation. That's why I'm here, and I'm going to be introducing the next panel, which is about inner leadership. We spend billions of dollars trying to expand our digital bandwidth and our energy grids, but we're overlooking the most important bottleneck of the 21st century, the limits of the human psyche. In a world that is accelerating at an exponential rate, the most valuable currency is no longer just data or capital. It will depend on the profound capacity of a leader to expand their consciousness, resilience, and empathy, and at the same speed, technology they wield. If our technology outstretches, our humanity will fail. And today we'll explore the new frontier of leadership and how we command others and how we stretch ourselves. And I want to introduce our moderator, Ms. Rupa Dash, CEO of World Women Foundation and also the founder. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Such a room full of incredible change makers and dreamers and doers. Thank you for being here. I would love to invite our esteemed panelists on stage. Well, thank you, Annabella, for the opportunity to moderate sessions, which I often don't do, but this is an incredible opportunity. Thank you for that, first of all.
Thanks a lot for hosting us.
Well, this is our third year partnering with EqualVoice and Ringier Swiss Media. And this year, and this particular session's theme is on leading from within. I think this is a topic that I really resonate with. In an era where global disruption and trust is in question, there can't be a better time to talk about inner resilience and strength and how to build a society on trust and authenticity. So my first question would be for Tamara. Before even you start, if you don't mind introducing yourself.
It's better if you introduce me.
Okay. Tamara RAICH, the founder of Athena 21, an expert in inner and embodied leadership, supporting leaders in developing self-leadership and presence and sustainable impact. BRITTANY KAISER, whom I have been following for many, many years, internationally known data rights advocate, a whistleblower, and an author. ANNABELLA BASSLER, again, I have a good fortune of knowing you for a few years, the CFO of Ringier and Initiator of EqualVoice. Welcome again to World Women Davos Agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So my first question is about defining leadership and power. What does that mean for each of you? Maybe I will start with Annabella here. You have been a financial strategist and also an icon for cultural change through EqualVoice. How do you think visibility and inner confidence interact in your leadership?
Visibility creates power. If you are visible, then you can raise your voice and you have the power. But inner strength determines impact. If you have the inner strength, then you can raise your voice, and then visibility helps. But if you don't have the inner strength, if you don't know your inner compass, then you have a problem, because then visibility will not help you. With EqualVoice, we created an initiative 7 years ago to make women more visible in media. By now, we reach 50 million users in 7 countries. So we are really happy about this.
Thank you so much. I mean, at World Women Foundation, I don't want to talk anything about World Women Foundation, but since we are at the first inaugural House of World Women Foundation, we have a platform which is called the World Women Hour. And that platform really provides visibility to women who are creating new systems and new ways of solving problems. And we have about a reach of 60+ million digital footprints in about 20+ countries. And we have seen that when young people see how women are embracing their voice and kind of embracing how they lead and change the world, it kind of really impacts intergenerational ways. And that leads me to the next question to Brittany. Internationally, you are known for building trust. And how do you think about inner resilience and visibility?
For me, I've always been someone who is very passion driven. I started my career as a human rights barrister and as a human rights activist. So I've mostly spent my time talking publicly and educating and building products and even writing laws around things that I'm so passionate about that it's all that I can think about when I wake up in the morning, and sometimes I'm thinking about it when I'm sleeping. And so if you can be authentic to yourself and really spend all of your time concentrating on not just seeing what problems there are in the world, but figuring out ways to solve them, that's when I believe you end up having the opportunity to get more visibility, because people can tell you are being authentic and how much you really care about solving that problem. And more, there's a lot of people in media that complain about issues that they see, but they don't offer solutions. And I find, especially a lot of the women that I work with are very solutions oriented. Maybe it comes from, being a mother or a daughter or whatever it happens to be. I definitely find with a young child, you have to be very solutions oriented. And it's such an incredible opportunity to be in a position where you can be impactful as a change maker and not just someone who, you can be inspiring by talking about an issue, but solving issues really brings people together and gives you that prominence that you wouldn't have otherwise.
I like that point. Having visibility is one thing, having authenticity is one thing, but how do you make impact? Maybe you can share through your own experiences, visibility and impact, how they go together.
How it goes together is, in our trainings, we strengthen women physically, mentally, and emotionally. So we give them power and energy, we make them visible, and we let them get their inner strength through physical trainings, so they have the chance to have the power to handle every day. Is it for the private situation? Is it for business? So we give them a tool to make them stronger and to let them get visible for everyone.
That's beautiful. We often explore the word power. It means so much different to everybody. Maybe, we do not have a vocabulary of words to define power. And for me, power is different, then maybe it's different. How would you define power?
For me, power means inner strength, to be stable, to be confident, to have self-trust. That means, for me, power.
Brittany, I would love to hear from you.
For me, power means your ability to empower others around you. And that's what you can draw strength from. So not just being able to be a problem solver yourself, but the more that you can give other people tools in order to enhance and impact their own lives positively, that gives you more stable and sustainable power over time, because your impact can grow and multiply.
If I have to simplify that, does that mean trusting other people and learning the ability to delegate?
Empowering yourself by empowering others.
Others, yes. Why am I repeating this? Because we have a lot of young people in the room, and they don't know what are the ways, what does power mean, and how they can exercise their power. Thank you for doing that. Maybe Annabella, what does power mean to you?
For me, power is clarity and accountability. It's all based upon data and facts. And for me, just standalone power is not enough. You need the combination with love. And I even say this, power and love in leadership. So I'll even combine it in business, because I think on the one side, we need this clarity, but on the other side, we need to have this awareness. Am I listening actively to other people? Do I ensure that I can empower everybody, that they would raise their voice? So for me, it's like power, it's really important, but please don't forget love, because only then, in my belief, you can get into action if you have this great combination.
I love that.
Thank you.
Well, we often hesitate to use the word love in workplaces. Do you think we can give this word to our next generation that you can be a heart-centered leader?
I'm so with you, Rupa, because everything we are doing now, we will empower the next generation of leader. And they need role models. And if we are not willing, and if we don't have the courage to change the working places now, who will?
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. In my working atmosphere, I want to have power, the clarity, the data, the numbers, the facts, but then combining it with love.
Oh, I love that. I really love that. But then again, coming back to, okay, these are big concepts, but how do you practice it? What do you do to bring that practice to become a better leader, build that inner resilience? What do you do, Tamara?
I think important is to teach first self-leadership, and then we do it in Athena 21 through physical trainings, and then you can lead others. This is important to get these basics, because if you cannot lead yourself, how can you lead others?
Yes.
This is what we do in our trainings. This is our focus.
If we have to do a particular practice daily with your, maybe in your workplace or maybe in your place of practice, what that practice really look like?
So you mean, for example, my daily routine?
Yes,
okay.
daily routine.
I have 3 anchors.
Yes.
I have breath, body awareness, and mental discipline. And for example, one conscious breath can reset your nerve system. Shall I quickly demonstrate it?
We would love that.
Yeah.
And it's very easy. Would you like to join me, all of you?
Yes.
Okay. Everyone is sitting down. And now you breathe through the nose 4 seconds. And inhale and exhale 6 seconds through the nose. And the breath should go deeply into the belly. You have to feel it. Shall we do it together? Okay. Yes. One more time. So, and then we have another one. This is very important for inner strength and to get the balance for the day. Can we stand up all together? You put your feet on the ground. You close your eyes. And now you feel the ground. You can also combine this exercise with the first one if you like. But this exercise gives you stability, power, and energy for the day. If you practice it every day, you will see immediately how you will change and how you will start differently your day. These are just 2 little examples. Thank you for joining me.
That was amazing. Thank you so much. Brittany, you have a very disruptive and stressful, you are making the world accountable to do the right thing. What practices do you do to become a better resilient leader?
For me, it is ensuring that all of the most vulnerable groups around the world that could possibly be positively affected by the work that I do are included first. So when I started working in data protection and privacy, I concentrated first on working with children in schools and parents that had kids at home and professors and teachers to do training of trainers so that the most vulnerable people, children who have been given a device but don't understand what that means, would have this information first. And only after I felt like I had done enough successful training of trainers and curricula and had produced enough content that was useful for children becoming more digitally literate and being more conscious consumers of digital content, where I could make sure that I was providing resources to people to make sure children are protected, then I would start working with, legislators and regulators to understand the problem and start doing legislative drafting and regulatory work. And now that I've gone through that process over the past decade, I'm more focused on actually making products that are accessible, that are privacy-centric. But I had to start with the most vulnerable first, because I've just seen over the past couple generations that unfortunately were taught how to use technology, but not how technology actually works. And that's the problem for us, not to understand how our data is collected and how it's used against us or to manipulate us. And while I was on that journey was when I first met Annabella, and she was launching the EqualVoice initiative, which, you know, for those of you in the room that don't know about it, it's an incredible platform that is actually able to measure how media and content is equally covering women or not. And then to not only see, are they being equally covered, but how are they being covered? Are they talking more about her fashion than the law that she passed? That's a problem. So it's not even equal coverage, even if enough women are included in the press. And then another amazing initiative that you led was to create an international resource of women thought leaders and experts on topics. So when journalists are calling up a man for a comment, they could actually instead call a female expert on the topic for a change, because there's a database that they can draw from. So you are able to use the EqualVoice platform in order to reach a level of equality where women are covered as much as men, and also as well as men.
Perfect. Thank you. Annabella, what about you? When you're under pressure, what do you do to stay grounded and get it done and be a resilient leader?
Well, I am convinced that it's always about your inner strengths. Who are you? What is your why, what, and how? And if you have this inner strength, you just can do a statement, as Brittany did now for me, because you know totally who you are, and that's why you can support, empower other women. So thanks a lot for the great statement about equal voice. But back to the inner strengths. I'm totally convinced if you know your inner compass, if you are aware of your values, then you know how to steer. And not only in business, but in your daily life, with your family, with your partner, with your friends, with all the engagement what you do. Because then you just can listen to your inner voice. But no doubt, it takes you a while till you allow yourself to listen to your inner voice, because there are so many voices around you, so many stereotypes and so many other wishes around, that it's really difficult to listen to this little inner voice that sometimes is really, really low and not so old as all the other voices.
Perfect. But you have vulnerability. Do you think you can show people how you feel? Do you feel like showing that is a strength?
I'm totally convinced of. I'm convinced of that the new currency of leadership is this inner strength and this truth, this really authenticity. We talked about this before. I think it's really important that if you do a mistake, just say, oh, I'm sorry, I did a mistake. You know, I think it's so important that everybody is aware nobody needs to be perfect. I always say I embrace my new imperfectness because I'm not perfect. And this happens in a business environment, but as well in private life. I tell my son, you know what? It's the first time that I'm a mommy. I'm not perfect, I do mistakes, and I'm sorry for this. But we both can grow from those mistakes.
Wow, that's amazing. This really hits home, because I really grew up in a small town, and often I was told to hide my voice, not express my feelings, and that still remains as part of my leadership skills. It's very hard for me to express how I feel. I can take care of people, but I don't know if I'm capable of taking care of my own feelings. Coming back to Tamara on this particular topic, there's often pressure on women to be hard on themselves and also hide how they feel. How do you think women can be powerful and yet be themselves?
So as I said in the beginning, we strengthen them with the special trainings we have. We have, for example, a training, you build a circle and all women get a punching bag. It's a small circle and you put one lady in the middle. And this lady has to fight for 1 minute. It's a long time, 1 minute, to fight against all these punching bags. and the rest of the group is encouraging her, is motivating her, shouting on her, and helping her to get out of herself and to get so much energy that she explodes at the end. These are really very effectful and very tough drills we are doing with the ladies, and it works, and the result is outstanding.
I want to be part of that.
You're most welcome to join. In October, we are ready with the first training. You will be our guest.
The only thing I know, I'm always ready.
I will prepare you.
But I don't know for what, but for everything. So, Annabella, for you, EqualVoice addresses structural visibility gaps. What advice would you have for women who want to stay visible without compromising on their inner truth?
Visibility should be chosen really wisely. Not every platform deserves your energy. So be carefully where you want to show up and where you want to raise your voice. In regards to your inner strengths, your inner compass, we were referring before, and I am totally convinced if you can use your visibility and engages together with your inner strengths, then the magic can happen, because everybody will feel your energy, that you are totally authentic, and that you use your visibility for a bigger sense, a bigger purpose.
Moving on from bigger purpose, Brittany, this is for you. I've been reading a lot about you since many years. You have often done things at a personal cost. What advice would you have when it comes to be visible, even when you know that there is a cost to this? This question is very important right now with whatever is happening in the world. People have the platforms, but they're keeping quiet. What do you have to say for that?
I suppose since a very young age, I've been trained to be quite loud about my feelings and to be vulnerable publicly. When I was younger, I started doing that by doing extemporaneous speaking and debate club and all of these things where I was kind of forced to be put on a pedestal and speak my mind. And I think that really helped me, grow into an activist as my career and be someone who is always talking about something that I am very passionate about. And of course, as a very public whistleblower, having to be that vulnerable that publicly was, quite a challenge. I definitely didn't think as someone who was training as a human rights lawyer and, had just taken my first job at a for-profit tech company that I would have more media than A-list celebrities. When I came out as a whistleblower, I had 35,000 articles about me a day. There's now like 10 million articles about me in every language. I've been on every TV program, every magazine, everything. And I definitely agree with you. Not every platform deserves your time. But at that time, I didn't really have a lot of choice. And now I'm a lot more careful with where I put my energy. I do a lot of due diligence on journalists and see if they actually are someone who are going to fairly cover my opinions, and if they really want to talk about this topic, or if they're looking to write a gotcha story, and make it harder for me, which, there are journalists that do that, but most journalists I engage with now, really actually very much care about this topic, about, privacy and data protection and keeping kids safe online and privacy-centric AI and AI safety. I think this is probably one of the biggest topics going on here at WEF this week and in general around the world today. And so for me, it's always been worth it to put myself out there and be vulnerable, even if, it is at a personal sacrifice and you don't know exactly how big that sacrifice might be. But it's also, I think they call it a crisis of conscience moment, where it's, if you don't say anything about it, maybe no one else will. And then that problem will persist and get worse. So you have to say something about it, and you won't be able to sleep at night otherwise. And that's where my strength comes from, is I know what I'm saying and doing is right. And therefore, I'm willing to put myself perhaps in harm's way, or definitely overexert myself and make it stressful for me and my family and everyone else, because I know that I have to do it and that it eventually will be positively impactful for everyone around me.
We have only 5 minutes. That was a perfect sentence to almost conclude the session, but we have one last question for each of you. We are in WEF. A lot of global leaders are talking about changing the world, but here we are sitting and talking about changing our inner world and building inner strength. How would you define that?
My call for action for everybody would be invest in yourself. Invest in your self-leadership, and you will become a better leader.
Thank you. Brittany?
Do what you believe in and almost nothing else, so that you can concentrate and spend your time just on what you're most passionate about. Because if you are doing something that you are passionate about, you will be successful eventually, and you will find the people that will support you. And don't get distracted by all of these other things. Like be laser focused, and that's how you will use your leadership to, really become the person that you should be.
Tamara?
And I would recommend to invest in inner strength, because inner strength is the courage to trust yourself even when the world is against you.
Bravo, bravo. I'm a moderator. I don't have a question for myself, but I will answer. If you don't mind.
We would love to hear your answer.
Well, while building this space, we often reflected what would we bring to Davos. And one of the things that we wanted to create was a listening space, because I think leadership really starts from listening. And throughout the week, we have been creating moments with just listening. How leaders can listen and just know the perspective of the world. And we have been able to do that with some of our incredible partners. And tonight we have a reception, and you will experience such a listening experience. What does it mean? I invite you all for that experience. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.